about. We're going to talk about the album, but I want to go back a few years to when and how we met. We met on a little island called Eleuthera.
Yes, we did.
It was like 2016, I believe.
Yeah.
You were on your honeymoon.
I was. Tatiana and I, we showed up at this little bitty island down in the Bahamas, and we were just hanging out, and I ran into Johnny, and we were instant friends. It was just
it's true.
Really, really great. So
yeah.
it was.
But we didn't know what each other did, because we just kind of like dove into the nitty-gritty life and love and family and birth and death stuff, and come like night 4 or 5 of hanging out, I was like, hey, man, what do you do?
It was pretty funny because it was the realization that neither one of us actually lived in our mom's basement.
Yeah, because you said, he said musician. I was like, all right, you're waiting tables, living in your mom's garage or something. And he asked me, I said actor, and he translated that the same way, like, yeah, you're waiting tables. And the next day I saw him, I said, hey, man, I Googled you over coffee this morning, because I Googled him, and there was like a friggin' laser show going on behind him, 40,000 people. I was like, you're doing all right, man. And he goes, I Googled you too over coffee this morning. You're doing all right as well.
Well, honestly, I knew who you were, but I didn't know what all you'd done. And I was like, whoa, that's that guy. And
yeah.
It was just,
that's the guy I've been hanging out with all week. Yeah.
It's really fun, man.
But that laser show and that kind of crowd, that kind of brings me around to, I think around that time or soon after, you stripped everything down, like to the foundation of the live show. You kept all but John Henry, because who couldn't, because he's adorable.
John Henry on piano. Y'all give it up for John Henry.
And you definitely, you hear that on this album, Magnolia. It's very stripped down. It's much more personal, I think, if you don't mind me saying. It's much more intimate, I think, especially in songs like Our Hearts. You know what that song means to me, and I know what it means to you.
Absolutely.
And No Good Place to Cry, just beautiful song. So were you nervous about going in that slightly different direction with your fans?
You know, I think for me it was, I feel like the fans that I've made, I just, you know, I think that the good thing about country fans is they'll give you a shot and listen to whatever you're doing, and they'll decide whether they like it or not. But I feel like everybody would listen to this album and realize that it's, you know, there's nothing but heart in it, and there's not really a sense of, hey, I'm going to try to have the next big hit record, you know, that sounds like every other thing out there. I think that the people that know me and know me well know that I stand for something that's deeper than just trying to make a dollar off somebody. I started playing music at 5 years old, and that's been my only thing in life that really fed me. I always felt rich because I had this thing that I love so much, you know. But yeah, it is a little bit scary, but, you know, I'm not really scared. I kind of feel like that, you know, I moved to Nashville. You know, I'd been sitting on bar stools playing music since I was a kid. And so I'm not scared to do that again. But I just think it...
Plus you got my guest house to sleep in now.
But I just think it's important to be you and keep that thing that's unique about yourself, and not just let the trends tell you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So that's what this album's about.
Yeah. One more of my favorite things about this album that's also very different is that you play a lot of the lead guitar on this album, which I love because I've always thought Randy was one of the most underrated guitar players out there. How did that decision come to be?
It really just was happening. I think that, you know, when I started recording Magnolia, it was, I didn't really have a specific direction. I didn't know what the sound was. I knew it just needed to be based around what it sounds like whenever I play my guitar and I sing my songs, you know. And sometimes when you go through the process of hiring the same studio players that play everybody's songs, they all sound alike. And whether mine's right or wrong, it's me, you know?